Hello, welcome to Actual Play Wolfspell. Very special Wolfspell edition as the game is coming out soon. Very exciting. Yeah, let's kick off by finding out who all these awesome soon-to-be wolves are in real life. Misha, how's things going with you?
Hi, I'm Misha B. I am quarantined with my two lovely young children and my husband who has taken over my office, and I'm very annoyed about this, but that's not a problem at all. Uh, you can find me on Twitter as BGGameworks, and yeah, that's about me. How about you, Shell?
Hey, yeah, I'm Shell Khan, they, them. I am doing all right. I have been locked up in this house before, so I'm pretty good at this point. So happy to be safe and healthy with my friends and family. You can see what I do with my spare time right now at Portable City on Twitter or on Twitch or wherever. How about you, Karen? Oh,
Hello, I'm unmuted. Karen 12, she, her, K12 on Twitter. I mostly retweet other people's funny things. And I run an ongoing Twitter game called Thing and Thing, where I give names of businesses that are a noun and another noun, and you guess what it is. It's very fun. How's
It's a
it going,
remarkable
Epi?
game.
Yeah, it's really good. Epi, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm Epi, Epidai on Twitter. I'm looking forward to this. I was just telling people before this that I, despite having spent most of this last year working on this game, this is the first time I've played it since last we gathered together. So I am super excited about that. How are you doing, Sean?
I'm great. When you sent out the email asking about this, I was like, Effie, I have one condition, and that is that you schedule it, and you did, and that makes you a hero in my heart. So I very much appreciate. Yeah, it was great to just say, oh, cool, we're gonna play this time,
Yep.
and here we are playing games. It's been a while since I played Wolfspell as well, and I'm very excited about donning the pelt. I have donned a little of my own
Yeah.
pelt since we've been in quarantine, so helping me get into character. Yeah, so how do we play this game?
Oh,
It's been a time.
yes, it's been a time. All right, so Wolfspell. Let's talk a little bit about Wolfspell. If you've not seen the previous episodes on this or haven't heard anything about it, this is a fantasy game, a possibly sword and sorcery genre, but mainly a fantasy game where we play adventurers who, for some reason or another, have shed their human or elven or whatever their humanoid form to become wolves to accomplish some sort of task. And as we make characters in this game, we're going to come up with who we were as adventurers, and then what we become as wolves, and the reason why we're becoming wolves. I say we, that's all of you. I'm going to be Winter. I'm going to be the GM of the game. I'm going to represent all of the perils in the world and present that to you. So the main way that we're going to interact with the game here is we're going to roll two dice. One is the wolf die and one is the blood die. They're both 6-sided dice. We're going to roll both of them together, and we're going to subtract the lower from the higher one and look at which one is highest. And that result is how well we do. Because basically, we're playing characters that are caught between who they once were, the adventurers they once were, and the wolves they've become. So if you roll these two 6-sided dice and you end up with a 4 on the wolf die and a 2 on the blood die, you subtract the 2 from the 4 and you end up with a 2 wolf, which means you're kind of wolfy, but still thinking a little bit like a human or whatever you were beforehand. That is the main thrust of how the game works. We'll have like special moves that deal with what those different results on the dice are when we get to them. The main thing to take in right now is that if you get a bonus to your blood die, that means you're acting, thinking, and behaving more like who you were, and less like a wolf. If you get a bonus to your wolf die, that means you're going to act and think more like a wolf. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to point at the background images.
Yeah.
This is amazing art that Shell that Shell made, and so I've made it my background. It's a little snippet of the cover.
Yeah. So that's the main thrust of what we're going to be doing here. So maybe we'll jump in and we'll make our pact now. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Sounds great.
Yeah.
And just to throw out there, if folks would like to play this game, it is available for pre-order now.
Yes.
And we'll put the link in the chat as we're going.
I should mention the form factor of this game.
Yes.
Because
is it an uncommon form factor?
It's a slightly uncommon form factor. It is written like liner notes on a trifold album cover, right? So when you buy this game, it's going to be 6 square feet of art, and yeah, it's going to be big.
It's quite large, as the person who had to paint it all.
Yeah,
it's just like an enormous amount of art for any game.
But what we'll be working with right now are the current draft of the PDF here, and I'm going to point you to page 5 of the PDF. This is a deceptively large page count for this game. I just want to point that out.
Unfortunately, I don't have it on stream, folks, so you will have to overhear us as we describe it.
Because this PDF that I've sent you is designed to for phones and devices, so it's a little bit like the PowerPoint presentation of the game. There's like one concept per page. But on page 5, this is where we're going to talk about the pack. What we want to do here is we want to come up with the adventurers that we once were. And there are 5 descriptions, and we're going to choose who amongst us of our characters match these descriptions. And I'll read these descriptions out loud. And if you hear one that you want, let me know. And we'll go ahead and give it to you, or we can just wait till we're done here. Let me just read them out here. So Wolf players, choose who is best described by the following. Many have tested my sword arm and now wait to meet vengeance upon me in the afterlife. That's 1. 2, I am witness to stranger worlds than most. The arcane and preternatural are to me as wolves and weather are to the farmer. 3, I am at home when I sleep under the sky and hunt far from civilization. 4, I am most alive in the houses, halls, and alleyways of civilization. And 5, no one ever truly knows where I stand or who I keep at dagger point. Does that call out to any of these call out to you?
I'm interested in the Stranger Worlds one.
All right.
I would like to be witness to Stranger Worlds.
So in this case, then, when faced with the supernatural, you may add 3 to your blood die after rolling. Now, with this, that means you roll first, look at the result, and decide if adding 3 is in your favor, or against your favor if you want to play against your favor, which is legit. I'm not going to argue anyone out of that.
I'm keen on I am at home when I sleep under sky and hunt far from civilization.
You're going with the beard.
Just going with the beard, exactly. Yeah, I'm just embracing it.
So your wolf will start with a 2 in feral. Everyone else will have a 0 in feral. Your feral is always added to your wolf die, or is always added to your wolf die, no matter what you rolled. So you don't get to make a decision there with feral, but you start off with, I guess, infinity times what everyone else gets. 2 more than what everyone else gets.
I'll take the last one. Nobody truly knows where I stand and who I keep at dagger point.
Excellent. All right. So in matters of deception and trickery, you may add 3 to your blood die after rolling.
Take City Wolf there. Most alive in the houses, halls, and alleyways of civilization.
City Wolf. I like that. Yeah. And so
Country Wolf and City Wolf.
Yeah.
Spooky Wolf, Stabby Wolf.
And just wolf?
But no moon.
I cannot say the word wolf anymore without having to think about it, because I've said it so many times. I end up wolf like 80% of the time if I don't. So for city wolf, when you must know the minds of people, even your own civilized mind, you may add 3 to your blood die after rolling. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to I'm going to fix the kerning on this, but that's not what we're here for.
Play testing.
Yes. What we're going to do now is we're going to take turns asking each other leading questions about who we were before the wolf spell. And each of us must answer at least 2 of them. I will start off with a question here. Let me think of a good leading question. Well, I actually got a leading question for the city wolf here. Tell me about one time you almost turned away from civilization.
I think I'd been scrounging around looking for something to eat, and doorway after doorway after doorway, it was just kind of like slammed in my face, and it was easier to go out and find a trap that had already been set and grab what was in the trap than it was to get food from other humans.
Now, your answer is great, perfectly legit, and I realize that your answer could have been about a human or a wolf, which I like, but I do want to specify that we're talking about our human side before we become wolves. Okay, good. Just making sure. I just had this we were walking the
Fantasy
razor's
hunters
edge.
Yeah. It was. I thought it was perfect. Yeah.
If you want, you can ask somebody a leading question about their human before wolf.
Trixie Wolf.
Yes.
Tell us about a time you kept a secret that would have been better shared.
Ooh. I think it was when a bunch of people were wondering why their garbage cans were all getting tipped over all the time. And I had a pretty good idea who was doing that. But I did not say because I thought it was funny. So that will be my answer.
Excellent.
I will pass it to now I've lost the list of which ones are the wolves. To the Wolfie Wolf, Country Wolf.
That's me.
Yeah. What is the longest amount of time that you had spent like in the wilderness on your own?
There was a mountain hike that I guided some people through, and we got stuck for a season. There was an avalanche, and we got stuck, and luckily we had provisions and whatnot, but we were there for 3 months. It was supposed to be a 2-week trip. Did not get a lot of clients after that. Did not get a lot of folks, but yeah, so the 3 months out of civilization. Shell, what did you take? What do you have from a wizard that? What have you taken from a wizard that's shown you other worlds?
Ooh, that's
Consensually
fun.
or unconsensually, whether it was a gift or whether you took it.
I have a coming of age gift that probably wasn't supposed to be as effective as it was. It is a cowl that I put on, and when it's blocking my vision, my mundane vision, it has the ability to open my secret vision, seeing things on a layer that are not visible. But it turns out that if you wear that cowl enough, you just learn to switch between the two with or without it.
Ooh, nice.
I have a question for the Stabby Wolf. When did you, what was the betrayal that made you learn to keep your enemies and your friends at arm's distance?
I think that one's going to you, Karen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh.
I mean, technically, there is a Stabby Wolf question that none of us answered, but I think
True.
that's
My bad.
no, it's
Sorry.
all good. I mean,
yeah, could you repeat that?
Yeah. What was the betrayal that taught you to keep both your friends and your enemies at arm's length?
Oh. Good question. I think I don't know. I might need some suggestions for this. I'm not sure. I want to tie it somehow into Sean's trip gone wrong.
oh yeah, that sounds good. Were you on that trip? Were you?
No, I think I was supposed to go on that trip and I sold my spot to someone else.
Was it someone on the trip who owed you something or promised you something and was thus unable to deliver in a way that had a pretty serious effect on you?
Oh, was somebody supposed to come back to do something important? Yeah, sorry. I just got excited.
I think they were supposed to like get me some. Well, no, I think I just sold them. I think they wanted in, and I price gouged them considerably for the ticket, for the spot.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted the money, and then they didn't make it back. I felt mildly guilty about that.
Yeah, not everyone made it back.
Yeah, they did not. And I think nobody like everyone's gonna feel really really bad about everything. But your character Sean made a point of trying to vilify me, that somehow it was my fault and I shouldn't have scalped my spot for them.
Oh, okay.
And
that
you
was
and
the
I used to be
betrayal.
really close, and you had taken it really personally that somehow it was my fault that they were there and didn't make it back. And so I felt like you didn't have my back, and in fact were kind of blaming me for it.
Yeah, rough.
And we have not been friends since then.
Makes sense.
Are we still asking questions?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, everyone needs to answer at least two.
Okay. Then I will have a question for Misha. Let's see. When was the time that you felt the most the most welcome in like the human world? Like, what was it that made you love it and be like, yeah, this is right?
Let me think. Oh, that would be mean. Yeah, let's go over there. So this trip that you're supposed to go and come back.
Love it. Yes.
Well, my boyfriend was on that trip, and he had just proposed right before he went on the trip, and he was lovely, and he had the flowers and the candles, and it was so nice and warm and cozy, and I was so looking forward to coming back and cuddling with him, but of course now he's gone.
So did he went on the trip, but you didn't?
Yeah.
He proposed just before he went.
Yeah.
Let's get married. Bye.
Did he just come back late, or was he another person who didn't?
Oh no, he hasn't come back.
Oh yeah, man, this trip is getting worse and worse. Yeah, no, I think we went up, there or so,
Yeah.
and it's just the snow came down.
Avalanche, bad things.
Yeah, nice.
Uh,
I think Shell and myself
back to
both think
Shell.
of a
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Shell. What's the strangest thing you've seen? Whether supernatural or mundane?
Well, it's been really fun to tie things into this trip, so gonna keep
I'm
poking
real
at that.
happy that this is turned into something.
Yeah.
A galvanizing moment. So I did not go on the trip, but I have, places I travel on my own, and I knew where you were headed. I knew the region you intended to visit and stay in. And so I was up on a not a neighboring mountaintop, but one where I had a good line of sight.
That one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And with my sort of supernatural vision that kicks in sometimes when it wants to, I was able to notice some sort of presence in the sort of the weather and the clouds. And that's not really normally how these things work. Like when I see magic, it's a person in town doing something they shouldn't probably. But this seemed more spread out, and it really did sort of like look like it was getting sucked into the mountaintop that trip was headed to. And
Nice.
it really was strange. And I wasn't at all surprised when most of them did not return.
Yeah. I'm going to name it Brindlewood Mountain.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Just so that we have the trek to Brindlewood Mountain.
Yeah.
So we have a name reference.
Yeah. Well, Sean, in your trek
Yes.
to Brindlewood Mountain,
Uh-huh.
what was the moment that made you most afraid of the natural world?
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to answer that with what I thought it was and then what it really was. So what I thought it was when the avalanche happened and we were connected by ropes, and it was not anything I had ever. It's something that theoretically you were prepared for, but until it happens, you're never ready. And in that moment of panic, I was terrified for myself and for the others on the trip. And that seemed like, but it happened like so fast. I don't even really remember what exactly happened. There was immense fear, but that fear led to action. But the real fear of the natural world was when we were trapped in this little cornice with the ice sort of right above us, ready to collapse any moment, trying to stay alive, and watching people sizing each other up as to like who, because there wasn't enough food for everybody, because there wasn't enough resources for everybody, and watching people play the game of like who's going to make it and who's not. And to me, like that people being pitted against one another was really the worst part of the entire trip, and it just was so prolonged and it's so slow moving. It was terrifying because it didn't happen in an instant like the avalanche is drawn out. Yeah. Is that it? Has everybody answered?
Yes, I think so.
I think so.
So and now we have a good idea of our adventures and about the trek to Brindlewood Mountain. Let's now we're going to figure out the Wolfspell itself, the reason why you're going to become wolves. These are on pages 6 and 7, I believe. And I will read these off again, and we'll just choose one, and we'll go from there. The option, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 of them here, so just make note when you hear one you'll really like. For generations long past, this curse has been upon you and your kin. This very night you shall lope out as the children of the great wolf and drive a rival clan from the vale. Number 2, a prophecy told in your youth dictates that only Fang and Claw will rend your destiny, so you must be reborn as a beast. Number 3, the task before you is not one suited for the civilized, so you turn to unsavory magics and shift your flesh into a form more suitable. Number 4, each one of you swallows a small fetish carved of wolf bone to shed your flesh, cross the veil, and seek there a fae-stolen child. Number I think we're on 5.
Yep.
Transformed by thunder and lightning in a storm of swift and uncanny origins, you are filled with an irresistible rage against the giant said to live beyond the mountains. Number 6. Relics of an ancient cult plundered from an old queen's tomb carry with them a savage curse that can only be cleansed in distant holy fires. Number 7. A sorceress tyrant of the north has molded your flesh wolfward to add to their menagerie of civilized beasts they proudly present before their court. And number 8, a pack with knowledge of wild wizardry and a keen interest in a singular civilized affair have possessed your bodies and left you theirs. So do any of those appeal to you or the situation that we find ourselves in?
Epi, can I just say how much I love the word wolf word?
Yeah. My spell check doesn't, but
I'm sure
it could go to hell.
Patrick doesn't like Misha, so
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Mine doesn't like Nittner. So yeah, we all.
I like number 3 because I think obviously what the title of this game is Return to Brindlewood Mountain.
Right.
And it seems like for whatever reason we need to go back, and we are more likely to survive as wolves than humans.
Yeah, there might be your fiance still left behind. There might be other things we need. I really like the idea that Shell. I was also drawn to 3 because I like the idea that this was not an external thing, but that Shell, that your character might be the one to use unsavory magics. If that's something that excites you.
I'm open to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, I also fall victim to these unsavory magics, so
Sure,
we're all in it together.
We're all in it, but I mean, they come from a source we know.
All right, I am good with that. If the rest of you are good with that, so.
But Prince just said Wolfspell check. However, on the other hand, is great.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, but
indeed. So when we get done with this, you're going to have to make one at the very end of this game. We're going to make one final roll to see if you change back from wolf into human. On that roll, you'll be able to add +3 to your blood die if the task before you is completed. So the task itself, is it to uncover what happened or to recover some bodies? Like that's, I guess my question is.
I think recovering some bodies is a little too grim for me on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
But recovering something maybe, or maybe are led to believe that people did survive and we're trying to find them.
Okay, yeah.
There could be some artifact that caused the avalanche in the first place. Mm-hmm. You know, it's that vision that you saw, Shell, the source of all of this could be some dangerous thing that trying to approach, as we've seen, trying to approach as humans is not
gonna work. Yeah.
So yeah, I like either recover the people that are stuck behind or find the source of it.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. I think I just needed like a thing that can be accomplished there. That's fine.
Epi,
I kind of feel like by doing one, we'll probably do the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Epi, I want to just point out, and maybe this is a proofreading note, but the way it reads is lift the spell once your task is complete, or abandon and add. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah.
No, this is a Sean can't read now. Never mind.
Oh, that's oh my god.
So you can abandon it or complete it.
I'll just let's quietly say proofread. Like I will point out that they're gluing them together right now. I've gone over this 1,000 times.
Yeah,
and I know that they're going to be. There's just no way to get rid of them. Oh,
never mind. I'm so sorry. I will.
We'll
shut
never
up.
say
I
that
will-
word again.
I will save.
It's
I will
done.
save.
I like out of superstition, I can't look at it because I just know I'm gonna crack it open to where there's a typo that I missed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I can't. So like I literally like once the game is out, like I don't play it again for a long time because
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
It's so hard. So hard to just look at it and go, oh.
It's in there somewhere,
Permanently.
waiting.
So let's get just a general idea of the world here. So there's obviously magics going on. Is this
For sure.
like we've got a fantasy world? Is it like ye olden days, or like because I don't know, I was getting like a couple vibes here with people's answers, whether it was like something that has happened in like the classic medieval Europe set, or we don't have to set at any specific time or place, but like
I think it's a little later. I feel like
Yeah.
when you talk
Yeah.
about garbage cans, I feel like gunpowder age, like
sure, yeah,
Renaissance-y kind of feel. Like
Okay, so
Yeah.
have you seen the movie Klaus?
oh no,
Oh, what is it?
oh,
Oh, geez. Well, it's an adorable Christmas animated film.
oh yes, yes,
It's on Netflix. It's wonderful to read it, but it's set in the sort of like 18th, 19th century blurry sort of Scandinavia.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would work for us, where it's like there's a town and it has infrastructure, and then is a wilderness and it does not.
Yeah.
That works.
yes.
I think
All
there's
right, that's-
there are trains and there are things like that, but they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. But
Like the
that
edge
civilization
of the
doesn't.
civilizing influences spreading.
Perfect. Yeah. All right, good. So let's shift you into wolves here. So on page, I'm going to say page 8, we have the shifting. What's going to happen is I'm going to describe how the wolf spell befalls you. You may at any time ask me questions about how it feels, smells, tastes, or whatever. And then I have some questions I'm going to ask you. We've established that Shell's character is responsible for these magics. So and correct me if I'm wrong about what our setup is here, but the horrible trek we're returning to Brindlewood, was that it?
Yep.
Brindlewood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brindlewood Mountain, to hopefully find there some survivors, and if not, to bring back and let's say that there was like an artifact that people had visions of up there, right? Like
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
so that we have something to go for there. So Shell's character, if you have an idea for how you cast this spell, go for it. Otherwise, I can come up with stuff. I've turned many people into wolves over the years.
Hmm.
You got some wolf experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think we'd been talking since Sean's character sort of came back and the survivors returned about the tragedy of Brindlewood Mountain, and then we start comparing maybe some dreams we're having, and reluctantly the four of us, especially given that Karen's character is feeling a little betrayed by all of this right now, we come together. And presumably, Misha, you're also not happy about how this went. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to say that as far as I know, your fiance is still alive, and what pronouns does your fiance use?
He was fine.
Okay, so I'm going to say that he couldn't make the trek back because of an injury, but it was
And you
not.
left him
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I did.
All right. So I'm trying to keep peace between these
Yeah,
three.
that's good.
Right.
Um,
Well, I mean, it was the only way to get him safe. We couldn't bring him back, so that's why the return, right, is to go get him. If that's okay, I just want to have that possibility. Maybe.
Oh yeah,
he
no,
might
that's great.
survive,
Yeah.
But as far as I knew, he was safe. He had food. He just couldn't move, and well,
You're like stuck in a cave somewhere, so that
yeah. Well, I think there's a couple people, honestly, a few people that stayed behind for the rescue mission, and we are the rescue mission. For better or worse.
We've talked about a magic cowl. Does anyone else have any like magic flavor that they want to throw in? Something that they think is appropriate to our sort of gunpowder punk setting?
Yeah, I think that there are. I think that there are powders that you visionary powders that you can throw into a fire, and or you can consume that give you I don't want to say like the sight into the unseen world, but that do foretell possible futures.
All right.
So throw that out there.
Yeah, so I'm going to take some of those powders and I'm going to alchemize them into something that I'm not totally sure how it works. But if the four of us can sit around a campfire just outside of town, where people sometimes just go to relax and have a nice fire and drink a beer or something, but we're going to go out there late at night, maybe midnight or a little bit later. Moon's in the sky, it's a full moon, and I say I'm going to give us an edge on this rescue mission. I'm gonna prepare us a little better than we could through natural means. And we're going to throw this powder on the fire, and we're all going to really intently breathe in the smoke of it, and that is where the transformation begins.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm just want one quick clarification because it sounds, and I really want this to be true, but it's okay if it's not, that not everyone knows what's going to happen next.
I don't think any of us knows. It sounds like we're planning to get a vision and we get to
Yeah.
the wolves.
I think you put it out, and I was almost ready to snort the powder, and you're like, "Oh God, no!
No.
Go
In the fire
I'm
first.
like, what don't pass me a powder.
There's this scene in Lady Wolf where they're throwing logs on the fire, and every time they throw a log, it like explodes. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but I love that scene so much. And I mean, it's clearly not actually wood that's causing this explosion, but it's that idea that like when you hit that little air pocket in wood and you hear the snapping,
Yeah.
it's just that times 100. And I'm imagining that when you throw the powder on, it's like, you know, it's just this huge popping and light show.
You have to do it like Salt Bay with the
Oh yes.
Yeah, right. These red vapors coming up. Yeah.
Well, I think that the vapors, and that's like the first part of the transformation. Instead of this happening from like the flesh inward, it starts inside going out, right? Like you start smelling better, like smelling better, but like your sense of smell, instead of like these weird powders obscuring and becoming, like the overpowering scent. What's the overpowering scent is the pine woods, and you could smell the deer that are hundreds of yards off to the west, and you start experiencing becoming a wolf through these senses before your body's even, I think you might probably just sit down and like completely stoned, and then
I get to ask you questions, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Whether it's phantom or real, do I hear the sounds of the people stuck on Brittlewood Mountain far, far away?
I mean, that has got to be a yes answer, right? Like I can't imagine I think you just barely hear them on the wind, right? Like you hear the wind first, and then you realize that the wind is carrying a message. And in fact, it even goes somewhere in your brain. You think that this is just the wind carrying rumors of what they're saying rather than their actual voices.
Perfect.
Thank
you.
Yeah. And we're gonna have like a moment where you all sit down, and because we can't afford the budget to digitally turn you all into wolves, it's a fever dream, and the camera just focuses in on your faces, and we go inside your minds, and there's wolves howling and stuff like that. And I'm going to start asking you questions about this transformation, and I will start with I'll start with Misha. This is what's most familiar about this shifting? Because you're the city wolf, right? Like that's so this normally wouldn't be, but
I think it's the moment when like the smells start turning up to 11.
Mhm.
It's like if you've ever walked in to a room where there's a smell concentrated, but outside the room it wasn't, and that just
Yeah.
kind of overpowering like smack you in the face of it
Every time I
all.
go into Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yes. or Bath and Body Works.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
thinking. Sorry.
Yeah.
Bath and Body
that
Works.
kind of like there's a wall of smell, and all of a sudden you just hit it. And I think that feeling is very familiar.
That's good. Good. All right. So this one's well, wait. I got a good one for Shell, but I'm saving that.
Uh-oh.
This one is for oh no, wait. Maybe I've got. Hold on.
It says at least one of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you can ask us multiple questions.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
You're really torn.
Let me go to Sean, and I'm going to say, what is most painful about the shifting?
What's most painful about the shifting? Man, is it a physical thing or is it a mental, emotional thing? I'm not super interested in the physical aspect being like bones shifting part, like physical body horror stuff.
Mhm.
So I think what's most painful is that I had committed everyone's names to memory. I was vehement that I would bring everybody back, whether they were alive or like one way or another, that I'd bring everybody back. And that, if at worst I was making gravestones for them, I would at least still have their names to put on those. And I forget them. I remember the people, but I forget their names.
Oh no.
And wolves don't know names, right? We know scents, we know smells, but it's agonizing when I start like, it's like Lawrence turns to Lar, turns to Raw, turns to just the sound, and I don't know it anymore, and it disappears. And that's that knowing it's going away feeling. It's just agonizing.
Excellent. Karen, how
Yeah.
does the shifting warp your consciousness?
Oh. With this new kind of sense overpowering everything, I realize that I can have a lot more insight into what people are thinking and feeling, and instinctually know that. But then I realize that they will have the same for me, and that makes me very nervous.
I dig it. I dig it. Finally, Shell, what sudden regret possesses your mind as it shifts?
Evil Effie.
Ooh. It's a fun one. I wanna take advantage of this fun question.
Yeah, savor this one.
Yeah. I was not done learning, and I don't know how that's going to work now.
Right.
I don't understand how I'm going to pursue my understanding of the supernatural now that I have ripped my human form away from myself accidentally. But I can see how it happened, but it wasn't what I wanted. This wasn't what I meant to happen for me. Yeah.
It's like a pilot who hasn't learned how to land yet, and then takes the plane off, and it's like, oh. All right. Wonderful. So now you're wolves, and we come to my favorite part of the game, which is on page 8 here. It says, you are now wolves. Describe your coat, your size, your scent, and your voice. And I guess take turns doing that.
Anyone ready? Okay.
My coat, I think, is not quite white, It's the color of snow, but snow that you can kind of still see, pine cones and things through. So it's kind of white, but with gray and brown little flecks in it. It's very well camouflaged. And my size, I'd say, is pretty medium. My scent is crisp, like fresh water. And my voice is kind of whispery.
Nice.
Like wind.
I dig it.
Cool.
So my coat is kind of reddish brown. She's kind of smallish for a wolf. Scent. There's still a hint of like city garbage kind of underlying the whole thing. It's not quite right for a wolf. And voice is probably kind of high and whiny.
Good.
My coat is brown with dark flecks. One might call a brindle coat. And there's tons of white in it. There's tons of gray and white in it that have not like Karen's like actual white coat. These are gray hairs that have grown in the front and in the snout and kind of receded back. Yes, I'm stealing from my own puppy, who has turned gray in the most adorable way. I think I am a large but lanky, a kind of a gaunt frame, and my voice is what is my voice is sort of scratchy and low, kind of like
Excellent.
I will be my coat will be sort of from gray to black. So if you picture a wolf with those normal sort of like facial stripings, the dark parts are black and the white parts are gray. So just like a little melanistic, a little bit on the spooky side for wolves. And I have these big yellow eyes. My size is not really that large, but everything is a little bit angular. So I just have an extra long snout, and my ears don't have much of a rounding on them. They're quite pointed, and I don't have that fluffy a tail. I just have a kind of a long, weird tail. I smell like the powder we all inhaled. It's gone from everybody else, but it just emanates from me. And my voice is sort of baritone and melancholy.
Nice. Love it. Excellent. So I think it's tradition on this particular channel then for us to name the wolves. Do we do people have wolf names in mind for their characters already, or for suggestions for other characters, I guess?
I have taken the name Graybeard.
Oh, well, there you go.
Is not original, but that's okay.
It works.
I'm happy with it. Shell, I feel like there's something about being lonesome. Not solitary, but misunderstood that needs to be captured in your wolf's name.
I have all these fantasy words, but I have to Google them because I don't know what they really mean. So give me a second.
Yeah.
I think mine should be something with snow or shadow or something. I don't quite have it yet.
Yeah.
I
put it
like
together.
both of those names, Snow and Shadow,
Yeah.
as possibilities.
I think smoke might work for Shell.
Yeah, I think I'll take smoke.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
better than what I'm Googling.
I like it.
I'll just take Shadow, just to make it easy.
The shadow on snow. Just
Mhm.
spooky.
Love it.
About our city wolf.
Yeah. I'm thinking something like wanderlust, but that's like an adjective, and I want to. I don't know if like. I don't know if that notion appeals to you or not, Misha. But like this
Yeah, I was thinking of
traveler or
something like
something.
along the lines of like yearn or search or.
I think urine is a great name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like that?
Yeah, it works.
Excellent.
Awesome. And through the power of Roll20, we are now here with our wolf names and
Excellent.
the blood and
Ooh.
wolf die.
Quick question. Since the dice are purple and orange and neither
As
of those
blood and
colors
wolf colors would be.
yeah. Who should we go with the purple as blood and the orange as wolf, or does the other way around make more sense to people?
I kind of feel like purple is very magical.
Mhm.
And so I think it might be the wolf die.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
I was feeling that as well.
let's
Maybe
do
it
it.
was a purple powder that we all
Oh yeah.
inhaled, and now look at us.
Excellent. All right. So you are now wolves. I'm envisioning this happening. So you had the campfire, and you all passed out by the campfire, and the embers now have died, and you've awoken, and it's the just like darkest moment of the night, but because you're wolves and you have the wolf senses now, and your eyes can see there was a full moon, but let's say it's set by now, and but the sky is brilliant with the aurora borealis,
Yeah.
and you could just see out across as far as you can across the snowy landscape, almost as if it were daytime. You could like I said, smell the things around you, and to a far greater distance than you could before. I really like Misha's description of the walking into a room where there's a bunch of senses, but this room is the biggest room.
It's
That
the world.
outdoor room with the really bright light bulb.
Yeah, that one. And yeah, it's just like where your bodies had lain. Now you're wolves. You get up and you have these coats, and move about. So should I go into like the particulars of the rules for the next part of the game here, or
That sounds
seems
great.
like yeah?
We
all right,
could also, if folks wanted to, we could also take a break now and come back and jump into the game. But I'm happy to go a little, like kind of do our opening scene and then take a break. However,
Do the
folks are
scene
feeling
and then
energy
take a
wise.
break.
all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, I'm going to talk about communication here. This is important because you're wolves and you engage in communicate. Well, I'm going to read right from the text here. The wolves cannot engage in dialogue as you or I would. They are able to communicate with each other with clarity, particularly on topics leading to immediate action. Wolf players, that's a lot of you, are encouraged to describe how your wolves communicate, but should also make sure that other players know what their wolf is trying to say and that their wolves comprehend it. Like, we're not going to play charades, but I mean, you could certainly play charades to let us know how the wolf is describing it, but then do tell us what the wolf is trying to say, because we understand each other. Scent markings, Like the written word, wolves can leave scents on the terrain for other wolves and similar animals to read. These markings establish the wolf's territory, how long ago the wolf has been by, and the likelihood of good prey in the area. Any wolf beholding the world, which is one of the moves that we can use, that listens to their nose will discern these things from nearby scent markings. Howling. A wolf howls to express affection, loss, or excitement. A wolf howling is likely to cause any wolf who hears it to howl as well. Thus, howling can also reveal the location and size of nearby packs. Any wolf with a feral of 1 or more must roll a blood result to resist joining in a howl. So if somebody howls and you have a feral score, you have to roll the dice. Otherwise, you have to just howl. And when you're howling, you must tell your fellow players what you're saying, right? You can't just howl like a wolf, because when wolves howl, they're saying something. So you have to have something to say. And wolves communicate through play. So we have this on page 10. We have this move for wrestling. So if you decide to wrestle with each other to kind of learn about how your wolf bodies work, we can engage with that. And finally, there's grooming. Grooming is an important part of pack health and communication. When wolves groom one another, they clean each other's fur, teeth, and any wounds they may have suffered, thus reaffirming their bonds and relationships. Grooming can only happen during quiet moments when the pack is at rest. I am playing the winter. I will be bringing lots of perilous things at you. It's important to know that I am forbidden from bringing perilous things to you immediately following when you wrestle or when you groom. So that's, let me just double check on that rule. But I'm pretty sure, yep, that is correct. So if you start grooming, you can only groom when you're like at a quiet spot or a place, a safe place. But then I can't just say, "Ha, you groomed, therefore now I get to do this bad thing to you," or whatever. It's always safe to do that. I jumped past this part, but during the game, you may end up getting what's called Winter's Wrath, and that's just an effect that makes you more vulnerable. And if you groom with the pack, that will eliminate the effect of Winter's Wrath. So that's one thing. And if you groom with a wolf with a feral score higher than you, you can gain 1 feral if you choose. So that's the thing you're allowed to do. So, yeah, the night is all sparkly and new for you. You have these new bodies. I'd like to. What do you do? Do you just jump up, or you sit there entranced by the glowing embers of the fire?
I'm gonna howl.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you said what was most painful, and I think that and that was the loss of the memories, and wolves howl is an expression of loss as one
Yeah.
of those things, and so yeah, it's, Shell, you said we weren't too far from, we were just outside of the town.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a howl that's heard throughout the town, a long whining, sad howl of just we haven't forgotten you, and it's meant to be heard. It's so loud and so long, with the hopes that the people left behind can hear. They can't. They've got human ears. They're not there.
Yeah.
But that's the intent, is that we haven't forgotten about you, even though, and it's so sad because we have, or at least Greybeard has forgotten their names.
Does anyone else join in the howl? Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So what are you saying?
Aw, shit. Like, I went too far.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yeah.
That was an in character. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mine is a little bit more like, this is awesome.
I think mine is more like, what the hell?
Yeah.
This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah. This was not the vision. Maybe it's all just a vision, Misha.
Maybe that's it. It's totally it. It's totally a vision.
Maybe you're just having
I'll wake up. My boyfriend will be there. It'll be fine. It was all a bad dream.
in the distance, you can hear howls that answer back. And they're further up towards the mountain, and the howls that answer back are I think they're like a wolf telegram, right? They're relaying your message that you won't be forgotten further down the line, right? Like
Oh, wow, awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's like lighting the fires. Very cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Or that scene in 101 Dalmatians.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's even better.
Ah.
Wolf Telegram is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except spooky.
Spooky, upsets the neighbors.
Yeah.
But, effective.
How do obviously this is a pretty it's maybe not like a huge city, but it's a town that's pretty civilized, and their people must have dogs. Do we hear?
I think so. And the dog responses are not as friendly. You're I think well, let's behold the world on this one. Why don't we? So
good call.
Aside from wrestling and grooming and all the stuff that I went over, there are 3 main moves that we will do. One is to behold the world, and that's basically whenever you want to take a moment to figure out what's going on, to see what's happening, to breathe in your senses. The other one, another one is called to sate a hunger or to bend the world to your will. And that's when you're trying to either hunt something down or to affect the world in a very human-like fashion. And finally, there's to face the perilous, and that's one you roll when things have gone wrong. That's the one that you want to avoid if you can, and you won't be able to. So let's, on pages 14 and 15, that's Behold the World. I think, oh no, it doesn't, this isn't a comfortable cutoff one, so that's on both pages there. When the pack pauses to attend to scents, sounds, and sights, Winter should describe the world about you in loving detail, taking care to impress upon you an appropriate sense of safety or danger. You may each then individually decide if you wish to roll. So, I mean, I've described the world. I think that we're at the point now. If you'd like to, you can just go ahead and give that a roll there, Shell. And if anybody else wants to, well, let's have Shell go first, and then.
All right. I got a 3 wolf.
All right. And now, if you want, you can turn that into a 0 wolf if you're specifically looking for the supernatural. Anytime there's a tie, it becomes a 1 of either blood or wolf. You get to decide. That's the thing I should have mentioned before, but it's okay. So 3 wolf is good. You get to choose 2 questions from the wolf list.
Yeah. What do my ears tell me?
Yeah. All right. I think, in the town, the dogs have some of the dogs are howling as well, and they're barking, and they're yeah.
Oh.
It's adorable. These aren't adorable dogs, though. These are dogs that are kept to keep pests like wolves out, right? So they're trying to alert. They're deliberately trying to wake up the human population, and it's probably working. You're hearing doors, slamming. You're hearing people yelling at the dogs, but also probably leaving their houses to look to see what the situation is. What's the ruckus? That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. What's the ruckus? That's a good old man word.
What's all this fuss?
Well, then my second question is, what do my instincts tell me?
Yes. Well, your instincts tell you that if they're coming outside, they're probably not properly dressed for the weather, but carrying a gun, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
the throwing the boots on and heading out to check to see if the flock is still there or whatever. Well, I guess that would be because we're on the edge of like a proper town though, right? So there'll be some farm, but there's also just people throwing things out the window to tell the dogs to be quiet. But your instincts are telling you that you either should move on or get quiet.
Okay. I'm gonna communicate that in a series of "let's get the fuck out of here" yips. And just be like, okay, cool, we're wolves now. Go, 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 go. But what do y'all make of that?
I think I'd probably like look at our pile of stuff and like look at you and I'm like, what the hell? You can take our stuff.
I feel like not to prompt you to a specific action, Shell, but I feel like at least in the case of Greybeard, the most effective way to get him to stop howling might be to wrestle him, might be to tackle him, and to distract him from these sort of mournful thoughts. That's not to say it's the only way, but I feel like I don't know that he's observing the world in the way that you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get in a
Just
wolf
to
pile.
get some good wrestling in.
Yeah.
Because
right.
when in doubt, you should try these things. Right?
Yeah.
No,
all right.
wrestle.
Well, it's definitely us two. Anyone else join in the pile?
Yeah. It can be a big.
Probably
wrestle
not
pile.
immediately.
All right. Who instigates the wrestling here? All right, give it a roll.
Just tried to roll on the Twitch stream. Give me a second here.
There we go.
Oh yeah,
good.
it's a 4 blood.
I mean, it could even be higher, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to describe how the play frightens you, and then there's a list that you get to choose from, and whatever you don't choose, I get to use. That list is: you are not separated from the group, you do not suffer winter's wrath, and you do not lose 1 feral, minimum 0. You don't have any ferals, so you don't.
Yeah, I don't have any feral yet. I do not suffer winter's wrath.
All right. And so you can hold off on telling us how the play frightens you until we see Sean's roll, and we can understand where that is.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, I just tried to click on OBS. So, hey.
We're special.
Good. So.
So that's
no,
that's a blood 2 because I have 2 feral. So
it
doesn't really matter. That's
still it's the same.
It's still the same roll.
It's just.
So you get to describe how the play frightens you as well, and then you choose one from this list.
Yeah. Whoa! I almost lost a puppy off my lap. Let's see. I don't really want to lose my feral because it's like my special thing. So, yeah, and I'm kind of excited about these people coming out and messing with us. So I'm going to choose I do not lose. I do not lose 1 feral, minimum 0. Yeah.
So.
Sorry, I had an idea of how the play might frighten me, but I'm happy to defer to
I'll go for it.
To show. I think that, and Epi, tell me if I'm doing too much description of the world, but I think that it's very easy to get kind of lost in it. And I think a gunshot goes off into the night, and I didn't realize like as soon as you tackle. As soon as you tackle Greybeard, he's quick to respond and quick to play, but like loses track of time and loses track of what it like stops paying attention to the world around. And I think what's terrifying is like not being able to stay aware, not being able to focus on more than one wolf thing at a time. And so it's like I'm wrestling. That's all I'm doing right now. And then when the gunshot goes off, I think I run, scatter. That's my thought. And Epi, tell me if that's too much.
No, that's good. I mean, I am forbidden from putting you in peril immediately following this. So, the gunshot is probably in a distance.
Yeah. But I am
Uh,
suffering Winter's Wrath, right? Like I am
I can
separated from the group and suffering Winter's Wrath.
Yeah,
so.
I can definitely drop those two on you if I'd like. But let's see. So Shell, I forget which one of the three did you pick?
I picked that I do not suffer Winter's Wrath.
Okay, good. All right.
So wrestling just seemed like a way to communicate quickly. I hadn't realized it was a whole thing. And I didn't plan to be a wolf, and I haven't really thought about being a wolf, and I haven't spent a lot of time with wolves or dogs. I don't know what they do, and this was just really alien to me. I'm not, as a human, I'm not the most embodied human, and suddenly I'm in this body that really requires you to pay attention to it, and it will do things without you agreeing consciously 100% the way that I thought I had control over myself as a person. And so it's just a really weird in-body experience. I'm used to the out-of-body type of experience. It's not my jam.
Good. Yeah, so here's what I'm going to do. I can separate you from the group. I'm definitely going to give Sean Winter's Wrath, and I think that's I'm going to give Greybeard Winter's Wrath, and I think that is definitely representative of just the sudden panic, right? Like that's the it's not like a physical ailment or anything like that, but now your instincts are hitting like anxiety in the back of your brain, just making you and can I have you both shoot off in two different directions, and then I will let the remaining two decide which one of you separated from the group.
Sorry.
So I can.
That's lovely. Yes.
So I can absolve myself of any.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah. No, I think after the gunshot, absolutely. Greybeard bolts, right?
So
certainly away. All I'll say is away from the town. I don't not necessarily to Brindlewood Mountain. That would make sense, but not necessarily. But it's definitely just like away from the source of the noise.
Yeah. So I kind of see this as like almost that cartoony like cloud of dust that they use to represent fighting or wrestling, especially when you take off in two different directions, kicking up snow behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know about Urine and Shadow. Which of the two do you follow, Smoke or Greybeard?
I'll follow Smoke.
Yeah, I think I trust Smoke a little more.
Sounds smart.
It's messed up, but
if there's one person to get us out of this, or person who got us into this.
Yes. Excellent. All right.
I appreciate your faith in me.
I mean, it's more hope.
Yeah, hopefully you'll figure out how to undo this.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. So is this a good moment then for the break? Should we?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds great. All right, friends. Now that we're wolves in this strange and scary world, we are going to go take a little break, and we'll come back and head up to Brindlewood Mountain. Or hopefully all of us will head up to Brindlewood Mountain. Great, a little bad if he misses out on it. So we'll see you all in a few minutes.